Here, how about Dan Campbell? Does he get a vote? The Lions, Colin, oh my gosh, obliterated the Jaguars 52-6 yesterday. You combine that with the KC loss to Buffalo, and the new favorites to win the Super Bowl are the Detroit Lions. Colin, this is the first time in franchise history they are the favorite to win the Super Bowl at plus 350.
First seven drives, touch. I mean, it's
the Jags have quit. We know that.
No question.
They've thrown in the towel.
We keep saying this, like when they beat the Titans. The Titans are competitive against everybody. They weren't against the Lions.
No.
So it's easy to just say, well, they keep beating like the Titans. I'm watching the Titans play every week. They're in every game. They weren't in that one. They got beat by 30. This team's, we say this before. The Lions have the best personnel in the league. The Chiefs are the best situationally with the best quarterback coach, and Buffalo's a little of both. They have really good offensive personnel, and a superstar quarterback and a good coach, and they're pretty good situationally. But I think we have to acknowledge, Detroit's got the best personnel in the league, J-Mac, and it feels like San Francisco about 3 years ago, when everybody that played San Francisco the following week lost.
Yeah.
Like, you play Detroit, they don't just beat you, they beat you up.
Yeah. I mean, it's disappointing what's happened in Jacksonville, but they're done. And seeing Detroit just totally handle them, 645 yards of total offense. I mean, so they ran, I think, 76 plays. Every time they touched the ball, they average 8.5 yards per play for the whole game. And they were barely passing in the fourth quarter, Colin. Like, this is a juggernaut. I don't see how anybody thinks they're not the favorites.
They are, yeah.
Now, will they?
Okay, let's talk about this, because never forget that I'm the first one who actually had the courage to say that the Detroit Lions were the best team in the NFL. And I said this weeks ago, and everyone kept saying, no, the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Chiefs. I was the first one. I said, I have the courage to say that the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL. But I do got to say this, and this, because this game was wild, right? They had 38 first downs. They only had 10 third downs, and they were 6 for 10 on third downs. 645 total yards, 76 plays in 9 drives. Time of possession, 39 minutes. 5 for 5 in the red zone. I mean, their chunk plays for just receptions, for passing plays, 13, 21, 22, 27, 54, 64. And those were all to different receivers. Those were just different receivers alone. So you had 6 different receivers have like a big play. And then rushing 11, 19, 23, also from 3 different backs. I mean, it was just wild. Jared got 14 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 158 rating, 24 for 29, 412 yards. I mean, it was just, come on, it was wild. It was a wild game. But it was like, it also only tells you so much about this team, right? Because, the Jags, they had 10 first downs. They were 2 for 10 on third. They had 170 total yards, 47 plays and 9 drives, right? Like, literally, they had 47 plays and 9 drives, where Detroit had 76 plays in 9 drives. I mean, it was just wild. Obviously, a pure domination. But again, I have said without a doubt that I think the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL. I've said this for weeks and weeks and weeks. You can check the receipts if you want. But I'm going to be honest, like, this big win against the Jags, like, it means nothing. It truly, truly, truly means nothing. They're already a bad team, and you're going up against a backup quarterback. Like, it does. It really means nothing. And even if you just completely annihilate a bad team, like, it doesn't mean that that's how good you are. Like, it really doesn't. I mean, we've seen the Dallas Cowboys do this, and they blew out teams. And, like, how much did that work out for them? Not at all. We saw the 49ers blow out teams last year, and how well did that work out for them? Not at all. We saw the Eagles do it. We've seen so many teams blow out bad teams, and it just all comes down to, how do you play against the good teams? We've seen bad teams blow out other bad teams. So at a minimum, what does it tell you? It tells you that the Lions are a pretty good team. But that's no longer the grading criteria for the Detroit Lions. They've graduated from that. We're like, how elite are they? Last year, the Miami Dolphins, right, practically set a record against the Broncos for most points scored. Then the first round exit. You understand what I'm trying to get at? So it's just, That's why. And I don't want to like annoy Lions fans because, again, let me say it again. I've said that the Lions were the best team in the NFL. And I said that before the Chiefs even lost. Even when they were undefeated, I kept saying the Lions are the best. The Lions are the best. So I have been very, very, very consistent about all of that. But I will say that this game, again, as cool as it is, as exciting it is, as fun it is as it is, if you're a Lions fan, like it really just means nothing, honestly. It just really does. The name of the game right now is to obviously keep stacking wins. Make sure you clinch that first round bye, stay healthy, stay hungry. Like there's no risk from my viewpoint, because they were kind of talking about this with the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think is nonsense. They were pretty much saying, oh, it's good that the Kansas City Chiefs lost because now they can't clinch the first seed, the number 1 seed, and the bye too soon, so they'll stay, ready to go, and they won't get complacent. And it's like, this team is coached by Andy Reid and Spags, and Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. Like, this team was never going to just like kind of go on auto drive here. Like, that's just not how well coached teams have it. And it's the same thing with the Lions as well. Like, Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson and company, like, they're not going to just all of a sudden be like, hey, we're great and now we don't have to try hard and we're just going to be on cruise control. Like, it's just not the way this team comes to play, as we can see when they dominate a 52-6. Like, that's the one thing that it does tell you a little bit, I suppose, that you're not completely complacent. But again, it's just, I have a tough time getting there because I've seen too many good teams, just kind of good teams, pretty good teams, not trash teams, dominate other teams. And like I said, it just doesn't really mean a whole lot. But this game, it's like, when you really look at the box score, it's just, I don't know if I've ever really seen a box score like this. I really not. And obviously when you watch the game, you see it all come to life, obviously. But it's almost more interesting to not watch the game and just look at the box score and just be like, how did this even unfold? How is this even possible? Like, what even is this? I mean, because this is just, this is like a college score. I mean, like, that's what they're doing. They're treating these other teams like they're colleges. It's just wild. So I think the Lions will continue to be great. I think they're going to continue to refine what they do. But I think the big thing is for the Lions, and the most dangerous thing about blowing out these teams, is it's not a matter of being complacent, but you start to just think like this is how games go. And this is proof how dominant you are. So then when you do play another team that's actually good and not bad like the Jags, there is this kind of like, this is harder than it normally is for us. There's a reason why in a lot of sports like that involve strength and stuff, like, you lift extra heavy before you actually do the main thing. Like, you see that with baseballs, people will throw like weighted baseballs and stuff. You even see certain football players, they'll play with like a basketball. They just do different things, because things that are too big or heavier, because then it makes the actual thing that you need to do feel easier. This is kind of reverse now with what they're doing. So that's, like, to me, the only risk of dominating these teams, because you start to think like, you start to just get high on your own supply. But I believe that Dan Campbell will take care of that, right? That is where you have the belief that Dan Campbell's constantly saying, this is how good we are, but hey, it's not gonna be this easy against the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, the whoever, right? Any other NFC team, which the Lions obviously know. They've obviously been in some tight games. It's not like they're only blowing teams out, but it's just, you always want to keep that in your awareness, because it is important, because you're probably not going to win the Super Bowl 52-6. I mean, that would be wild. I mean, I'm for it. I'm definitely for it, but it's most likely not going to happen that way, right? Like, that would be the most shocking thing, and would be, again, I'm for it. That would be amazing to witness, although it would make a kind of a boring Super Bowl, to be quite honest with you. I like some action, but yeah, just really great things ahead for the Detroit Lions. And I'm curious if anyone, because I'm sure any of you Detroit Lions fans that are going to be more locked into the local news and stuff, is there any updates with injuries of Hutch and stuff like that being able to come about? Anytime that I've tried to look things up, it's always just kind of like older articles. So I'm just curious if there's, again, I trust the local reporters in that regard to have any more like updated information. Like, is there any updates on that? Definitely please let me know. I'd love to hear. But yeah, this game was wild. They're the first time in franchise history to be Super Bowl betting favorites. Just wild stuff. Truly, truly wild. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions being as dominant and ferocious as they are, and the fact that for the first time in franchise history, they're Super Bowl favorites? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.